This is for the split air conditioner units, the Ingram's water and air equipment. I'll have to show you what I did, because ductwork, this house is 1 foot thick solid concrete walls. Really hard to run ductwork, kind of a pain. And ductwork, you lose 80% of your heating and cooling. Now this little thing right up here is the hatch that used to go into the attic, which is a pretty big room. We'll get back to that in a little bit. I'll show you what that was. But when you're talking heating and air, and first of all, you don't have any ductwork, and second of all, it's not like you can run any ductwork through 1.5 foot thick solid concrete. So this little unit right here, which are, well, I mean, size little, but actually they're both 18,000 BTUs. There's 2 of them. And these things are real quiet. Apparently it reached temperature because they do automatically shut off and they adjust and stuff like that. These things, all you do is just mount them on the outside of your house. This is the copper coils that run up to your inside unit. Now, what I did over here was, in order to be code compliant with electrical and stuff like that, you have to run from your electrical box or make a sub panel and run it from your sub panel. These are lockout boxes, so that if you want to work on one of these things, you can pull the circuit breaker out, flip it over, and then everything's safe to work on it, because you want to electrocute yourself when you stick your fingers in the wrong spot. These things pull condensation out of the air. So when it gets really, really hot up on the 3rd floor, which that little hatch went to, but you'll see that little hatch is different now. When it pulls the condensation out of the air, and it changes your ambient temperature in a controlled environment, which is basically a fancy way of saying, in that room you're in, that's what it does. It pulls all the condensation out of it, and there's a drain pipe, which I made run right down through here. All I do is run it down the outside of the house, run it all the way over there at a downward slope, put a 45-degree angle in it, and instead of just letting it drip on the ground and flood up under my house and basement, I just hooked it, I turned it around and hooked it right into the gutter. So now it runs right down into the yard and waters them bushes. So pretty simple, real easy. So the hardest part is you kind of got to know an electrician, or you got to be brave enough to put your hands in a 220 box. So, but other than that, it's not hard. That's probably the hardest thing you'll run into, is the electrical, because these things are simple. They got quick connects. You just like the air hoses that you put on the air tank, and you just pull it back, plug it in, and then you air up your tire, stuff like that. That's the kind of hooks they have on those. That's why they call it a DIY unit. You got an electrical harness that comes down here, and that's where your electrical goes. From that box over there all the way into, you just hook it in here. It's all color coded. It's real simple. Instructions are easy. I mean, I can show you all that, but the instructions are too simple. You don't need it. So now we're down to this part. That hatch turned into a 3rd floor. And I'm fairly handy. I did HVAC in the military, actually, as a matter of fact. But when it got to 135 degrees in the shade, I quit taking pictures. I was getting discouraged. It actually hit 150. These things are awesome. This is what we do. This 3rd floor is about 95% complete, not 100, but this is what we got now. So I added all this. That little hatch was replaced by these stairs right there. And so now, as you can see, it's a whole functional, it's basically like an apartment. This couch turns into, I mean, there's refrigerator, table, microwave, fold out couch, it turns into a bed, recliner, widescreen TV. Here's a little 2 units that you're interested in though. This is what keeps you cool. So there's 2 of them, and they're remote controlled. You can do all kinds of stuff with these things. You go like this. We turn them off every night because we're not up here and we're not using it. This is actually Kelly's workspace. And so she comes up here, turns it on, about 15 minutes, everything's cool. There's 2 units. Actually, the only reason there's 2 units is because these are 18,000 BTU, which reminds me, I'm going to show you this. This is your guide to how many square foot you need and what size BTU rating you need. But this is kind of an estimate. Square footage doesn't really necessarily mean square footage, because the square footage up here is about 700, but you've got this vaulted ceiling up here, and so you got a whole lot more volume than just a regular square room with a flat ceiling in it. So you're picking up more volume. So you also got to think about volume when you're doing square footage. That's why I got 2 of them. One of them was enough to take care of the upstairs, but not enough because I could have got the other size. But divide out, add your units and divide out the square footage it'll do by the amount of dollars that it cost for that unit, and you'll probably realize that, well, I mean, they all change prices here and there every now and then, but the 18,000 divided out actually gave me the better dollars per square foot than any of the other units. So it was cheaper to get 2 of them. So I got this one, and that's what this little handy thing is for. It's got this little thing, I don't know if you can see it or not. It's got a follow me. Can you see the follow me thing? Yeah, you just point that thing wherever you want it, and there's 3 vents on here. We just aim this one straight into that corner of the room, and this one straight right to her where she's sitting at her desk, because she's allowed to work from home. Her company let her do that. Aim this one over that way, so the whole upstairs is taken care of. We aim this one straight at her too, keep her cool. Aim this one straight right down here into the stairs, and this one right straight down there. So between both of these units, it takes care of the 2nd floor and the 3rd floor. And as you can tell, this place is actually not really small. I mean, it's basically an apartment. So, alrighty, I guess I'll go post all this stuff in